My name is Mr. Anderson, and this is the Written Sins Kickstarter talk show. And this week, we're going to talk about the labor of love for creation or of creation. This week's main title that we're promoting as the kicker of the end of summer is Shadow Play on our list. It is number one in our hearts. It talks about bullying. It's a fantastic adventure about Brad and Joy venturing blindly into the mystical realm long hidden from mankind's memory to save Brad and his shadow's very lives. We're going to talk about more of that in a minute. Every dollar counts. We're going to talk about the importance of every dollar counts and what it means to have those types of dreams at the end of the program this week. As a wrap up, we're going to talk about how TITS only has about 15 hours to go about this point, 15 to 16 hours to go. So this is your last chance to get a ride on TITS. The villain in the Noir edition is going to be something that we're going to be talking about, how Gil Grimes, a former costume criminal, is trying to stay as a regular type guy and not be a villain anymore, but vigilantes and circumstances seem to be forcing him back towards his old ways. Mutant Chasers, a new breed of. Number 2 is now on Kickstarter. It's the long-awaited second installment of the Mutant Chasers. The Voda, or Vud, I forget how they pronounce it. The fantastic art of Chris Mad brought this to life. It's a team of mercenaries that were once villains trying to clean up their act. And this is the beginning of the road to redemption for them. We're also going to talk about Bless the Children, the horror Western one-shot comic book. What happens when a newcomer arrives in a small town and he begins seeing children to whom no one else is aware of their existence? Who are they and what do they want from him? Let's find out later in the program. Let's also talk about Voodoo Curse entering its last week on Kickstarter. Kim Roberts and Chris Allen doing a fantastic job keeping these amazing titles going. We're going to talk more about that. We're going to talk about how we can't forget about the veterans and why it's so important that we support veterans at all times. We're also going to talk about Pieces of Me, the superhero celebrity magazine. It's doing a fantastic job on Kickstarter, just burning it up with some amazing art, some fantastic storytelling. We're going to dive into that. This Scissors, a time-skipping assassin allies with a friend on her escape exile and a mesophin and combat traders of her own cause. I don't know why I can never say that word right. It's a time-gripping graphic novel. This is Scissor Sisters. 10,000 miles is all it takes to get to China, and this graphic novel book is all about two impossible kids teaming up to do an impossible journey. The Eclipse brings us a new world of monsters. Let's dive into who they really are on this program and find out what is all about the Project of Earth, and they call us monsters. Demon Riders from Jack Holder is on the program today. It's about demon riders, demons, monsters, and old gods. A fantasy western that promises death, chaos, and hope in the face of it all. Click here to pledge. We're going to talk about that more in a minute. Alicing. I can't say the word again. You have to excuse me. Awakening Part 2. I'm just tripping over the words today. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. We'll let a video play so they can talk about it better than I can apparently today. Support R4AU, the Autistic Jedi, with the patch to show your support. This new patch is available, and I'll tell you how to get it. Speaking about Projects of Earth, the last arrival is one with monsters. It is 5 aliens leaving to space with the hopes of finding a new home, and we're going to find out more about it on the program today, along with the Magical World. Jack Holder is a backer of and a big supporter of its Midgard on the program. Today, we're also celebrating Halloween early in August. As August ends and the fall is beginning to come, we talk about Halloween and Tomb of Horror. And we're also going to talk about what it means to be one of us at the very end of the program. All right, guys, so that's the list. As you guys know, we go down the list pretty quick. You'll be able to fast forward the videos. Every Kickstarter gets at least 2 to 3 minutes if you want to try to skip to the one you want. We're going to start today with Shadow Play. Shadow Play is our Kickstarter to end the summer. It's doing not as well as we'd like it to. It's got 15 days to go. We need your support. So I'm going to ask everyone who watches this video, go to that and share it at least on Facebook or Twitter. Give the support, give the love that it deserves. And we're going to watch the video as always. We're going to explore the video. So let's make this video nice and big. For some reason, we're not getting the audio.
Are far more than we ever imagined.
We're just going to go back and start over.
I used to be afraid of the monsters I imagined hiding in the shadows, waiting for their chance to get me. Then I found out the shadows are far more than we ever imagined. They come from an impossible place, hidden from mankind's memory. Don't be afraid of what's hiding in the darkness. It's the shadows themselves who can kill you.
So now the premise here is that your shadows can become something outside of being attached to you. They can be more. And Joy is actually a witch, and she's been brought up by her aunt and her mother, who instantly know who Jack is, to give a little bit about the story away. So it's almost like these two have been destined to come together and to be part of each other's lives. And there's a very powerful moment that I really loved about this story, and I talked about it when I did the review. There's this moment where Joy right here puts up a board and tells, it's not a board, but a painting of herself. And she tells everyone to put on it a word that they feel describes her. So they all start putting these words, and you can read some of the words aren't the nicest words. So in all ages books, so it doesn't get too bad. But you can see that there are some words that could be hurtful to especially a teenager trying to find their way in life. So with that in mind, we have Brad who walks over, seeing that, and asks, well, why would you do that? Why would you let people say things about you like that? And one of the most powerful messages I've ever really seen in a comic book, she says, it's better that they say it out loud than to say it behind my back, kind of idea. And it was really stunning and powerful the way it was worded. And I'm not going to give away how it was worded because it's very powerful, and I think the words should be read in the contents there, but that's just giving you the power of the book. And you can see there are two very different individuals in the onset of the book. Brad is a very introverted kid. He kind of keeps to himself, while Joy is very outgoing, very anxious, and very her own self. She doesn't really care what anyone thinks of her. She's kind of like Daniel Bryan that way. Anyone who knows Daniel Bryan knows what I mean. They'll get the joke. But that's Shadow Play. It's an amazing adventure, and I mean, just fantastic. It covers... sorry, it's actually my wife. It covers all different types of things, such as magic. It covers monsters, and it covers just imagination, I would say. You know, like what is our shadow? What does it mean to us? So I definitely suggest this book. I've read it. I reviewed it. I think it's fantastic. And I definitely think it's something that you should check out. Sorry about that. We just had a bit of an issue where I knocked the camera for those watching on Facebook. Sorry, guys. So... that is that. So, I mean, if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to run them by the creators. It's always one of those things that are fantastic. The cool thing about this is that you can actually get a black and white version, which I like black and white comics. Someone had recently mentioned black and white comics and whether or not they can sell. I personally think a black and white comic book can be very powerful. I think a lot of times some people try to use a lot of colors to hide the fact that they don't have a very strong story. You know what I mean? I think if you can do a story, you should be able to do it in black and white or color. Perfect example, Clerks. I don't think Clerks would have been the movie it was without the black and white. I think the black and white added to it. I think if you colorized it, you'd almost ruin it. Same thing with the March of the Wooden Soldiers. So sometimes black and white matters a lot to a certain story. And I think the black and white version of this, which I got to read, was really well done. I am looking forward to the color version, just to see how the colors are different. So I'm excited about that. I suggest getting both because both are very interesting. And sometimes shadows almost come more up to life in the black and white, believe it or not, to me at least. Moving on, let's see about Tits. We didn't, because Tits has 17 hours. We're going to go ahead and play a video. See what this is. Again with the video. Not
dimensional taxi cab service. My name is Colton Sorrells, and along with my brother Casey, we are the creators of this comic book series. In issue 5, we find Blotter and Skit Scats at the Sasquatch Music Festival at the Gorge Amphitheater. Things start off merry and jovial enough as the duo partake in the festivities, but things quickly turn sour once Skit Scats is forced to face his inner demons. Blotter doesn't help the situation as he goes off on a tantrum. Havoc and pandemonium soon ensue for the pair and everyone else around them. Join us on the other side of the rainbow in this action-packed issue. Also available are first prints of the previous 4 issues. All art is provided by David Gunawin and features colors by Yves Amador. Along with the comic, we have posters, wall scrolls, limited edition metal prints, as well as limited original sketches, and various other reward packages as well. Thanks for watching, and we hope you like our project.
Now, this is a fantastic project that's been going for a while. As they said, this is issue number 5. Issue number 1 came out. I keep forgetting to check, but I want to say it came out last August, September, around this time. So they've been able to deliver it, and they delivered very quickly. There's an example of their rewards package. I think they did a fantastic job. I think they're great creators. I think they're funny as hell. So, you know, I said this the first time I ran into this project. I could definitely see this being a movie or definitely a cartoon, you know, like it's a throwback to like some of the more interesting ideas. And it kind of plays into stereotypes. And sometimes that's funny, you know, like the hot cop who dresses in really tight, skimpy outfits, but then she uses that as a tool to get her way at a certain point in the story, you know, and the stereotype about, you know, cats not liking certain things comes up to play. There's just funny things in the book that I think are hysterical. It's definitely a great book. I definitely am excited to see it, and there's some original, I believe these are some original rewards from it that you can see from the original things. And it's funny as hell. It really is funny as hell, though, I gotta say. And the Leprechaun here got me. This is instantly what I wanted to be part of this one. But you only have 16 hours, 17 hours, I think, to go on this one. So act now or forever hold your peace until issue number 6. And then you're going to be catching up even more. So here, let's talk about Villain. This is a nice short video. It's got mostly music, so while that runs, I'm going to call it up and I'm going to read it to you exactly what this particular Kickstarter is all about. Just give me a second as I call it up on my end. I had Shadow Play playing in my background right now. So basically the premise of this is, as I said earlier in the program, you get a villain who's been released from jail, who's trying to do his best to stay on the up and up. And it's not always easy, especially when you got a vigilante out on your ass trying to make your life freaking miserable because he still hates you for all the things you've done. And this is a society thing. We never do the right thing when it comes to, you know, we have these guys locked up. And because they did something, they deserve to have a punishment. Don't get me wrong. But then when they get out, we kind of almost push them back into what what they know and what they're all about. So, I mean, this is a very interesting take. It's a noir tale, so it's a little darker. It's pure black and white from everything I can see, aside from some covers. As we can see right here in the some of this, you can see the cool art. The story is Gil Grimes, a former costume criminal, was fresh out of prison and trying to stay on the right side of the law when he reluctantly saved a heroin-addicted prostitute from being brutally attacked outside of his apartment. Now out of the hospital and drug-free, Lily Sanchez contacts him, seeing Gil as a hero while he views himself as anything but. Despite himself, he finds he's falling for her. But their relationship and any hope of a future is put in jeopardy by both of their pasts. Gil is stalked by an unhinged vigilante with a deep grudge against him, stemming from the mysterious incident that landed Gil in prison. At the same time, his former cohorts in crime attempt to lure him back into his old life of supervillainy. While Lily is hunted by her former pimp and now a vicious serial killer looking to finish what he started. This is Villain, now available on Kickstarter. Mutant Chasers #2. I believe that this is another, yeah. So this is another music only. So we're going to go ahead and I'll bring up the information on it while that plays. Mutant Chasers. Issue 2, our young heroes find themselves right where we left them, in serious trouble. As Alex and the gang return to the university to uncover the terrifying truth behind their mutations, Xander learns what Dr. Rockoff truly has in store for his Chaser 1, but nobody here is going down without a fight, and of course that includes Rockoff's oldest and deadliest ally, Mimic. They are doing fantastic, 9735 on a 9500. They have 52 hours to go. They are going to be a Kickstarter in our Hall of Fame, which, by the way, we're now on to our 3rd list. How fantastic is that? We've been able to acquire, going on 50 successful Kickstarters in the last 4 months. So that's been really cool to be part of. We've helped these ones, and out of those 50, only about 6 failed. So it seems like it's a good year for Kickstarter. That is Mutant Chasers, which you only have 52 hours to take advantage of and be part of. Voda is here, and we're going to talk more about that and listen to this video. This one does not have...
John Miller here, publisher and co-founder at Outpouring Comics, creator and writer of Voda. Cursed by the outpouring, Deadeye decided to assemble a team to lash out at a world that has turned its back on them. He was joined by Mr. Mole and Gorilla Ghost as the Valley of Death Alliance was born out of their hardship. Voda's original intent was to wreak havoc on those who had branded them as outcasts and traitors. But their goals soon morphed into something completely different. You see, they never really wanted revenge. They just wanted to feel like they belonged again. They had lost it all when they had gained powers, but they finally found it again in each other. Voda had become their new family. In this new chapter of Voda, Gorilla Ghost has been sent out to clear their name in the local desert town of Indian Springs. When he got there, he found out from the chief of police that the town was under an attack from some sort of psychic power. Gorilla Ghost, never one to back down from a challenge, immediately volunteered to help, in exchange for a clean slate for him and all of Voda. Had he known what horrors awaited him, Gorilla Ghost may have been a little less reckless in his approach. But heck, he can take on anything, right? Now on to some of the awesome goodies you can receive by pledging your support. Not only will this new installment of Voda be available, but the original 3 issues of Voda are being compiled into a graphic novel for the first time ever. Each of these issues are currently out of print, and this graphic novel will be your only way to read up on Voda, the early years. Want some original art with your comic? You're in luck. Voda will be available in sketch cover, and Chris Mann has offered to draw any character on the front of it. Voda classic prints will be available in addition to a new Voda limited edition Kickstarter print. In addition to this, the complete Outpouring library will be available as well. Want more? Stay on the lookout each week as this prize list will expand through both weekly promotions and stretch goals. There's going to be a little bit of something on it for everyone. Now I'd like to give a huge shout out to my creative team. Much thanks to Chris Mann for doing a dynamite job on both the pencils and the inks. He really helped bring both the story and the characters to life. I am honored to work so closely with him on this series. Next shout out goes to B Studios for really making the colors pop off the page, adding even more life and depth to every single image. Now to thank an Outpouring original, my wife, Sarah Miller. She has come a long way with her lettering since the original Voda and continues to get better every single issue. Finally, a huge thanks to Outpouring Comics co-founder Samuel Gardone, who tore apart my script mercilessly with his edits, but he made it into something far greater than I could have on my own. Thank you all so much for helping this comic come to life. Oh wait, there is one more person I would like to thank. All of you who took the time to watch this video.
All right, Cheap Pop. So that's Voda, and as you can see, they're 100% funded. Congratulations to them. Time is running out. You only have 57 hours to be part of this amazing journey. I definitely suggest being part of it. It's one of those amazing books that you only see once in a lifetime. I hope Chris Matt actually has a copy of this at New York Comic Con so I could get it from him and get him to sign it for me maybe. But moving on, we're going to talk about Bless the Children.
Bless the Children, 15-page, one-shot horror Western comic book. The plot follows Ed Sylvinter. He's the sole survivor of a failed westward expedition. He makes his way to the small town of Retribution in Northern California. At first, he thinks it's completely abandoned, but he meets his sole resident, Rhonda Duran. She takes him in, and he begins staying at the saloon, where he keeps seeing children out of the corners of his eyes that are completely silent. And it just gets worse for him from there. I won't spoil the plot. Another comic book we're going to make, if we make enough money, is Cat and Mouse. Figure for the stretch goals, I would give you guys value instead of just more trinkets. This is another one-shot horror story based on Japanese game shows. Thanks for your help.
Well, it's short and to the point. They did fantastic. They have 41 backers, but made 1684. Now that's an impressive haul for 41 backers. Congratulations. Apparently Facebook's got a new camera today. So make sure you're sharing and backing it. It's almost 3 times its goal, so it's doing great, but it can still use more love. Moving on to Kim Roberts' Voodoo Curse. Again with the music. So now, kind of creepy music fits for it. So basically, this guy goes to do this job that's going to end the job. That's it. He's done. He's out of crime. Of course, something goes wrong, and he winds up becoming this human voodoo doll that goes out to exact revenge against the people who wind up causing him to become a voodoo doll. It's a fantastically told horror story that is just genuine and awesome. And I definitely suggest you guys being part of it. It has officially funded, I believe, last time. Oh, yep, it has officially funded. You guys have done a fantastic job, but keep helping it by supporting it, sharing it, and showing it to your friends and telling them to be part of this amazing world. Let's talk about the Veterans Wife program. So what is Veterans Wife trying to do? They're trying to bring awareness to the fact that when veterans come back home, they don't necessarily get the help that they deserve. And this program is doing wonderful things by bringing awareness to the fact that veterans need extra support when they get home. Remember, they've been displaced for a long period of time. So they haven't necessarily adjusted to the life back at home. Sometimes they need jobs. Sometimes, they need help emotionally and physically for ailments that have haunted them. And the VA is kind of a joke at times for the way that people are treated. So I definitely suggest, as always, coming to this page and just liking it to start, and then share the things that you think are amazing. Notice that this chandelier is all medicine bottles, which is how we kind of treat our troops. We bring them home, we pop them in pills, but we don't give them direction and love, and that's what we need to do. And that's why supporting Veterans Wife is so important. So please help me and do what you can by supporting Veterans Life by doing the following: sharing the post, writing an article for the magazine, joining their writing staff, get yourself a magazine or give one to a friend, subscribe to their magazine and comics, sponsor the Veterans Life comic itself, or shop at their cafe press store. Participate in fundraising events and always donate. I will be donating more than likely tickets to cons. Is sometimes I have extras because I'll have someone I wanted to have come with me and they can't make it, or it's easier to buy. Like for New York Comic Con, it was easier to buy tickets before I knew whether we got a table or not with my wife, and someone would have had to watch Jax. So I did what I could. You know what I'm saying? And now I might have some extra tickets. So that'll have that taken care of. Moving on. Pieces of Me. Now, I don't particularly like the video on this one because I don't think it plays into the fact that it's a tabloid magazine, and I do want to warn you that the comic book is a little more well worded than the actual promo for this. I'm not a fan of the promo just because I don't think it really delivers on the power of the writing. But we're going to watch the video, and mind you, I do think the writing is a little stronger than this video. Not hating on the video. I get the video. It's artistic. It's like a TMZ type style. I just don't like TMZ, so that's probably why I don't like the video. And I do think the story is really well told, and I think that Markel Dupree did an amazing job bringing this world to life.
Alliance.
Hey, superhero gossip lovers, guess what time it is? That's right, it's POM time! This week in celebrity-empowered news, rumor has it, the enigmatic empowered team called the Unit has been known for its stable and sleek protective style. Easily considered the most stable of hero teams, might be in for a shakeup. That's right, changes! The Unit might be getting a new member to add some new blood to the almost covert supergroup. Rumor has it, this switcheroo might cause problems. In other news, the ultimate hero and crime fighter Strongman has saved the day many times over the years. Besides his unconfirmed alleged pornographic appearance in a leaked 1970s film, he's been squeaky clean. However, the lack of recent appearances and the absentee presence of the crime-fighting scene has led many to believe, you guessed it, Strongman is gone. Left Earth after his continual complaints over mankind's inability to evolve past war. Could it be true? Could Strongman be adios amigos? More on that later. Crime has recently risen, with crime lords taking over city streets, shadow ninjas appearing from, shadows, and crazed beasts stalk the roadways. Meanwhile, the floozy hero that is Brittany Armstrong sleeps in alcohol-induced slumbers without care. Wait a minute. Who are you calling Boozy? You. Oh, okay then. The once great daughter of strong man himself has been seen flying into pigeons and power lines in a somewhat questionable state. All those powers, it's still undependable. At least she's good for one thing. Or is it two? News media is going crazy. And they might not be the only one. Warbound may also be in question. The self-proclaimed immortal god has yet produced any proof of these claims. Psychological experts have weighed in, and you guessed it, evidence suggests he's no immortal at all. Just a unlucky or unlucky homeless man who has recently become empowered. Those are just some of the hot topics in this edition of POM. Get your copy or be squared.
Now, as I said, obviously that was meant to be a rip, or at least a parody of TMZ. Oops, sorry about that, guys. So keep that in mind, but also understand that there is very strong writing behind this. As you jump in here, you feel like you've almost made it to a world where it has been as pre-established and going on forever, and you're actually the one who's missing out. You feel like there are back issues you need to get. So it's fantastic the way that the story starts. So apparently some people are losing some powers, apparently. It's a fantastic idea. You can see they're breaking through some stretch goals, doubled already what they asked. So amazing job on the Powerverse, and Markel Dupree and Eva Luzanine joining them. Fantastic job. Keep it up, guys. Keep it up. Scissor Sisters Swan Song. Here we go. It's your turn.
An assassin at the beck of the most insidious minds across the millennium. But I was bested by enemies foretold from all corners of the continuum. Banished into Neverwin at the hands of the hated sisters. My time-driven armor damaged, exiled to some when I could not escape. Stuck in this primitive place, I must steal the time-sensitive metal that will repair my armor and allow me to escape. My only ally, the friend of my enemy. So I keep him doubly close for that last moment of opportunity.
Scissor Sisters Swan Song is the follow-up to the 2016 graphic novel Scissor Sisters. This 54-page sequel follows the sisters' most dangerous enemy, the time-tripping assassin Signet, as she fights her way back from entrapment in ancient Mesopotamia, but faces opposition, much more exotic. Help us bring this fast-paced story of redemption and vengeance to print. Back Scissor Sisters Swan Song and score print or digital versions of the graphic novel, along with opportunities to pick up the original Scissor Sisters book. There are also autographed editions, original art and sketches, and even a chance to appear in the next book in the series. So don't miss out, back early, and thank you for considering our Kickstarter project.
That is Scissor Sisters. Next up, we have 10,000 Miles, an all ages graphic novel adventure. Oh, again.
My name is Tyler Black, and I'm an indie comic writer. In fact, I actually have 2 series under my name, Guardians and Home. And in the case of Home, we actually have the entire mini-series funded right here on Kickstarter, and I am eternally grateful. But I need your help again, because I'm making an all-new book called 10,000 Miles. Now, unlike my previous series, 10,000 Miles is a graphic novel, which means the entire story is right here in this one book. And we wanted to get a head start on this, so we actually have the first 20 pages done. The first 11 of which are right here on the Kickstarter for you to read, and the final 9 will be cycled in as the Kickstarter continues. And you are helping us fund the final 52 issues and distribution. Now, what is 10,000 Miles? 10,000 Miles is a story of two brothers, Bryce and Chris. And these two are just incredibly gifted. Bryce is a builder, a fabricator, a mechanic. Chris can draw and write and design anything that pops into his head. And ever since they were 10 years old, they've been going on these little mini adventures. So much so that they've been called the impossible kids, because 10-year-olds shouldn't be able to do this, but they do. And then for the next 8 years, they just do the impossible, and they love every minute of it. They are as close as brothers can be. But life moves on. And they find out at 18 that they're going to be separated in a pretty big way. So, desperate to have one last great adventure, they go off on the grandest of them all. They're going to dig their way to China. No, they're really going to dig their way to China. I mean it. And if you look at the cover, you're even going to tease out how they're going to do it. But not everything has been revealed. Now, what makes 10,000 Miles special to me is that this is a very personal story. This is one that everyone can read, which is actually a point going into this. I actually called this my Disney Pixar story, not just because of the art, but because everyone can read it. I call it a children's book just as much as I do a graphic novel. Parents can read this, kids can read it, just regular comic readers can read it. This is a fun story about two kids doing whatever they can to make their last moments together memorable. This is a story about life. This is a story about growing up. This is a story about how we react when life just throws us a curveball, which is something I think everyone can relate to. And I'm really hoping you'll help make this adventure come to life. Now, as with all good Kickstarters, we have a lot of great rewards. You can get drawn into the comic. You can actually have your art featured in the comic, which is the first time I've ever done something like that. You can get Guardians and Home along with 10,000 Miles. And we have much more than that, and it's very, very exciting. With something like this, with me funding a graphic novel on Kickstarter, every single pledge matters. So I really hope that if you like this story, if you want to support it, you'll pledge, and then you'll spread the word to your friends. If you can only spread the word and you can't pledge, that's okay. Spreading word is just as important. Whatever it takes for us to get to that funding goal so that we can make this true. I've had this story for so long, and I'm so happy to be here on Kickstarter to try and get it funded, because this is something I really want to tell, and I hope you will help me fund it. So, pledge, spread the word, let me know what you think about the preview pages. I'm here for you, and I hope you'll be here for me. So, shall we dig our way to China?
So you guys ready to go digging? Great story. Todd Black's killing it. He's got a little bit more to get to his goal, but he's going to get there. He's got 13 days to do it. I have confidence. Fantastic art. Great project. And I'm very proud to be a backer myself. I can't wait to read it. And they call us monsters. So let's check out my project. Oh, the volume again.
This takes place in sunny Florida. Come and be reintroduced to the real-life Frankenstein, Mummy, and Dracula. Gentlemen who now seek a quiet retirement in sunny Florida after a lifetime of bias based upon their pasts that have now been turned against them by the silver screen. Now these misunderstood men find themselves in the middle of a string of murders that the police look to pin on them. These monsters will have to band together to seek out the real monsters of life and expose the evil that is always lurking right under all of our noses. This is, and they call us monsters.
So, basically the idea came to me while working with the amazing art of C. Chardo. And you can see, a graduate of the Joe Herbert School of Cartoon and Graphic Arts. He's a fantastic artist, has done amazing works. I saw his art and I was instantly mesmerized by it. I didn't feel like it fit the current book that I was working on, which was a little more superhero driven, but I wanted to work with him. I thought he had a unique style, and for some reason it inspired me to actually see, and I can't explain it, but I instantly thought of the monsters, like the classic monsters from Hollywood, as you guys can see, bringing to life the Frankenstein monster. We can go over it here. You see Dracula. This is Meet Dracula. Dracula is the descendant of what you know to be Dracula. That's right. However, unlike the movies, he is no vampire, and he's actually a victim of a human condition and a genetic disorder. I have to actually change that to condition. His family has been hunted for being different, and the silver screen has only made things much worse for him and his family. Meet the oldest member of the Dracs, or Drakes. I can't decide how it should be pronounced. Meet Stein. Meet the man they based the myth of the monster of Frankenstein on. This doctor is very different from most and is, in fact, the doctor and monster in one. That's right. Frankenstein is his own monster, and the monster is Frankenstein. Meet Mr. Mum. Mum is a member of the oldest member of the family. The mummy is based on his family. However, there is so much pain endured by in life by Mr. Mum and his family due to a genetic disorder. Sadly, a Hollywood director, upset of a marriage of his sister to one of the mums, created the mummy misconceptions to take form. So basically, you had a Hollywood director who didn't like the fact that his sister was marrying into these people who have to wear bandages. The basic theme is that every time a mum gets hurt, their skin comes off like a snake. So kind of like gruesome that they shed, and then as the skin kind of oozes into place and grows, there are like spots of their body. The face comes in a little bit faster, but I mean, once they shed it, it's not a pretty sight at all times because their skin comes off in layers, it leaves open holes. Frankenstein's basically what we'd consider a mutant. Ideally, he's a mutant who can operate on himself and replace parts like he's a Lego. And he can use other human parts, and so far hasn't found a problem. The only problem he has right now is he doesn't really know if the face he sees in the mirror is himself anymore. He's been alive for 200 years and no longer remembers his original reflection. Is it what he looks like? He's had to do surgery on certain parts of his body. He's had to have organs replaced. He's had to have people help him do these things. He's also a genius. So he's a good guy to have around when you want information. And Mr. And Drake here is... he's got a blood disorder, and the famous line in the book that I have is, "Would you drink blood to live?" And that's what his family was forced with during the Dark Ages. Either they could drink blood and survive, or they could not drink blood and die. See, the one thing with drinking blood is it did keep them looking younger for longer. And because people look younger for longer, they wound up looking identical to each other in generations. So at one point in the story, where 4 generations of the Drakes all come to the one town, because they can't live together back in the day, because there's no explaining to small minds why people look so similar. They would get the wrong misconceptions. So they all kind of went into town and didn't make a big deal of it, and they weren't all in the same place at once. But this is a time before cell phones. So before anyone could know what was going on, 3 of the Drakes get killed. And then you get this guy who makes a Hollywood story out of it, bending the truth, because as writers, that's kind of what we do sometimes. We take truth and we bend it. And sometimes, perfect example, 50 Shades of Grey, she took something she didn't understand, she talked about it. Same idea behind dragons and dinosaurs. We all know that more than likely dragons didn't exist, but dinosaurs did exist. We know that. And more than likely, the myth of dragons came based upon the truth of the dinosaur bones. So you have very misunderstood characters starting off, and they're getting pretty much pinned that the crime that's happening around them is their fault, because we live in an information age. And because we live in an information age, police are aware that these guys are from these families, or Frankenstein himself is 200 years old. There's no law against being 200 years old, and there's actually no law about him operating on himself, and he keeps getting these parts by buying them. So there is no law about experimenting on yourself that he's been charged with. I'm sure that they could make one up if they wanted to, or dig one out from certain areas. But currently, he has not been held for any of that. But when these bodies start piling up, and there are missing blood, and they have missing limbs, it's not hard to see why people would look towards them. So the monsters have to get motivated to actually get together and prove to people that they're not doing what they're being accused of doing or set up to look like they're doing. The fantastic thing about this is that for you guys, the fans of my work and the people who've been supporting me for so long, I tried something different. I tried to give value packages. Now we're giving away things basically for this Kickstarter. And this is also my nod and thank you to everyone who supported me. This is one of those things you can take advantage of. I guarantee you when you come to my table, you're never going to get this $20 package. It's just not going to happen. This was seriously my thank you to anyone who supports Written Sins. And this is something I'm excited to do for you guys. I sell these for $20 at a table, but here now on this Kickstarter, you can get both shirts. That's $40 right there, plus the book. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? You can get Jax the Anderson. You can get the shirt. I don't know why it says men's large. There are many different sizes on this. If you contact me, I might be able to get you more than a men's large. But the men's large is definitely the most we have. But keep in mind, there are other sizes if you contact me. It's a $20 package. You get the book. You get, and they call us monsters, Jax the Anderson and the Jax t-shirt. Wow, we didn't do a t-shirt for this Kickstarter because we have too many t-shirts at this point. It's time to start getting rid of some stuff. So we're also using this as a way to promote Written Sins and to promote some other projects. This one is my favorite, the Mr. Anderson package. You get the Advocate shirt and you get all the books I've printed. And I will send you all the PDFs. Now, the amazing thing about this is a $20 package. You'll have to pay shipping, of course. But that's just as good. And I did this on purpose to be the PDF file. You can get every PDF for $20. Now, this includes things that you guys might not have ever heard from me. The Dark Justice Burns, Gothic Blue, all lit up. And the NYR collection are things that I don't talk about recently because I've been working on these other projects, but they're very important to me and they're where I started. So, I mean, this is, to me, a monumental moment because for the first time ever, I'm sharing these things with you guys, things that you didn't even know that I was necessarily working on. With that said, we have come to a point in the Kickstarter where we're almost 50% funded. So I do appreciate everyone who's been there for me. I would appreciate more. Come on, guys. Help a brother out. Help a creator out. Even if it's just sharing. I really would appreciate everyone who just shares this project for me. I would, I don't care if you back it necessarily as much as I want it just out there. So if you guys are on the fence about it, that's cool. No hard feelings, but you guys know me. You guys show up all the time. I'm creative. That besides butchering some words every so often, I'm a pretty sharp guy. So, I would just appreciate the support, honestly, like anyone else would. I mean, I worked hard on this project, believe it or not, and it came together really simply. But I went back and I re-edited the story, and I had 30 people read the story. And every one of them came back in a rough version where, like, I like it. Some people didn't necessarily like certain elements about it. That were choices, but they didn't say it was horrible. No one ever came back and said, I hate, or this has to be changed. They just more questioned choices that we had made and wondered if we were going to keep it. So it's very important to me that storytelling be at the forefront. So we took that story that I felt was weak, and we went back, me and Chuck Pignot, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, Chuck, if I'm getting it wrong, I'm sorry. We went back and we've been editing the hell out of it. We've been making sure that it runs very, very smoothly. And as a matter of fact, just for those of you who are tuning in now, I might have, there's the brand new cover. Now, we have not released this on social media. This is always something I like to do when you guys are watching these videos. I like to give content that you don't necessarily see. That will be the official cover of And They Call Us Monsters. Right now on the Kickstarter itself, you guys are seeing a different one. And now, mind you, the YouTube audience might not be able to see this because I don't think we switched screens. So I apologize for that on YouTube, but this is an exclusive for you guys on Facebook. This is the cover to all, and they call us monsters. And you guys can see that we've upped the saturation on the color a little bit just because of you know, the watercoloring. We're going to talk more about how this project came to be in the next couple of days, but I've been definitely talking about all the packages and all that, and I really do appreciate the support. Without the support, I wouldn't have gotten here. So, you know, you guys are amazing. Everyone who's backed me before has been amazing. Anyone who is interested in the 250 ad space, I only have 2 of those, and I do have here's Charlie, actually, now the editor I was talking about. He just joined the program. He'd been helping me do a fantastic job of re-editing this program. And the ad space, if anyone wants it, I know there's one person very interested in the ad space, and I expect to close that ad space with him. He actually sent me some art to look over, so potentially, you know, he's going to commit to that. So if you wanted ad space in Fetish Babies #2, because it's ad space in Fetish Babies #2, which many of you guys know, the first Kickstarter I ran, ironically, Fetish Babies, I was told was going to be impossible. It wouldn't fund. It wouldn't fund. You can't do an adult themed comic book. And people are going to look at it like porn. And to my happy and thrilling, so not surprise, but expectation, people really showed their true colors and showed that they are supportive in private, you know. And I had a lot of good people support that project, and we did amazing. I barely had to talk about that project to get it funded, and it well overfunded. And it's funny because Monsters has been a little harder to get to the funding thing, and that's okay. I like a challenge. I'll talk about this more. I'll put it forward. I also cut myself down to only 20 days, unlike Jax and Fetish Babies. Fetish Babies, I think, had 31, and Jax had 32. Just because of how it felt, because I wanted to go on that giant tour with him. So, I mean, this is it, guys. This is my creativity you now have from me, and it's cool. Look at the setup, and this is something I'm very proud of. You have this middle, kind of not all ages, but definitely like a PG book, where if your kid's just a little older and can read, he or she is fine reading this. You know, this isn't meant for like grade school, early grade school, but like late grade school, definitely middle school, this book's fine for. And then you get Jax the Anderson, which is obviously, you know, kids book. So we have the kids market covered, and we have Fetish Babies, which is the adult. So by the time that all these books are printed, I'm going to have a table where I can represent different generations of fans. And that was important to me. I really wanted to have something where someone could come to my table and feel like they find something for them. And that's important, you know? And I couldn't have had any of this come true without the support of you guys who watch these videos. So just, you know, thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being fantastic and coming with me on this journey. You guys watch the videos. You guys support me by sharing it. I just wanted to say thank you so much for all that you've done for me. And know that I in spades, I pay it back. And you could ask Charlie, Chuck, as he goes by in the book, my editor, how much I put into it. I constantly change, and Leah actually had written something really nice about me on a different project I was working on, how I'm willing to sacrifice my writing to tell a better story. I don't let my ego get in the way of storytelling. You know, there are times recently I had seen someone letter something, and I'm not used to people lettering my stuff. I always letter my own stuff because I like that kind of control. And by the time something had gotten lettered, it wasn't worded the way I would word it. And it really bothered me more than it probably should to not have that control and have someone change my words, because I really like obsess over these words for you guys. I really try to give you the best story I can. And by the time I deliver it to you, I really feel at that moment that's my best. And that's all you can do. I don't ever give you something I don't think's ready. We delayed this Kickstarter, for many of you who knew that. We delayed it by almost a month because I wanted to give you guys a better story. And I didn't feel like we were ready. I felt I was rushing into it right after Jackson. I didn't want to have it. And I know that me and Charlie are going to have this wrapped up in the next week. And we're going to have it definitely be something that we're going to give to you, and you're going to read it. And you're going to be like, I see the quality in this. I see the art's fantastic. The writing is phenomenal. And someone went through this with a fine-tooth comb and edited the hell out of it. And Charlie's done a great job of that. Despite having a hurricane breathing down his neck, he's still giving me edits. So he's a great guy. Actually, speaking of Charlie, he said something. Definitely a great guy to work for. He always wants what's best for the project and not for him. Thank you, Charlie. I'll get you your money for actually saying that a little later. No, but I mean, like it's great to work with Charlie. I've never had a problem with editors. I've been able to work with Charlie and Leia, and it's been amazing. I actually enjoy working with editors. I'm very dyslexic, so there's some shit I just don't see. And sometimes, you need to be reeled in as a creator, because my mind has created such a universe for these guys to live in. You have no idea. There are characters I made up that will probably never make it into a book, but in my mind, they're there. So sometimes my ADHD, especially, I can get a little lost. And speaking of being a little lost, I should move on. I'm giggling because Charlie went ching ching. I'm going to move on because I'm talking about my project. We didn't get to talk about it last week. This week I was able to actually talk about it, but I'm noticing the time, and it is time to begin to wrap it up. So let's talk about Demon Riders. Remember to back, and they call us monsters. Oh, the damn volume again.
Those who read on will not find happiness. What joy is found here is more accident than true compassion. We don't give love, we don't find peace. And the only solace to be had is at the end of a blade. We're riders. We got a job to do. Read on if you can.
Hi, my name's Jack Holder, and I'm the writer of Demon Riders. Harsk and his ride is the only thing that stands between folk and the darkness of the pit. The riders are cruel, they're ruthless, some may even say heartless, and they're broken. But they are the only thing standing between light and a fate worse than death. That is, until the advent of a new rider, Kate Demonborn. The ride will never be the same. Demon Riders is the first book of Kate and Harsk, a fantasy western set in the world of arcane industries. Kate and Harsk battle demons, chimera, cultists, and their own sins. At their core, they are of course good, whether good likes it or not. This is our second book on Kickstarter, and one we are extremely proud of being able to show you. Illustrated by Eric Muller of Hand in Hand Artworks, with the cover art provided by Alana Fletcher. We are here with our Kickstarter to bring Demon Riders to you in an early print run before taking this book public. In these rewards, you can buy our paperback, our previous titles, and artwork from some of the best artists we've had the pleasure of working with. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has helped inform you about Demon Riders and arcane industries. I hope you buy the book, and no matter what, again, thank you.
That's from Jack Holder, a great guy. Definitely cool that we know that we're getting this before other people are getting it. A little bit of a love fest with Jack giving back to his fans, something as you guys just heard, I like to do. Spells and Taxes might be why you know his name. This fantastic book was his creation. He was on it. So, and they're dealing with the apocalypse, also a Jack Holder title. So definitely he's been around. People have gotten to know him and know how creative he is. This is definitely a Kickstarter to back. Let's talk about Emily Skye.
Now listen, Shug. I know the world you see, the world around us now. I know it's hard to see the light through the insanity, but it's there. Shug, it's there. It's there because we're still here, surviving together. Now I know who we're facing. The path that lies ahead. I've been on this road before. I know you haven't. So Shug, I need you to hear me. Where we're going, where you're going to see, it's going to terrify you. It's going to change you. Those things out there, what remains out there, it's going to hunt us. I know you're not ready for what you're going to see. Hell, I'm not sure I'm ready, but you will be. I promise you, you will be.
I love the art in this. I got to be honest. I like this type of artwork. I have a book that I have in mind that I don't talk about because it's a very personal book that I wrote after my grandfather died, and it just kind of came to me in all things on the first flight I ever went on. Literally, the first airplane ride I ever took, I actually wound up thinking about this book, and I got off the plane airsick, and I wrote it down, and the art in this is exactly what I envisioned it to have. So this is a fantastically, amazingly brought to life comic book, and you guys should definitely back it. It's amazing. Could use a little love, so what we're going to do, I haven't backed this project, which is kind of weird considering how much I like it. So why don't we fix that? First, we're going to share it. Okay, and then like I always do, when I find out I didn't back something, I'm going to do it. Let's see. See, I like to have the physical books, but sometimes it all comes down to, unfortunately, for me, I'll have to come back. For me, it's also, sometimes I worry about shipping costs just because that's the $5 I could be investing in another book, as my daughter Roxy gets all excited. Roxy, relax, baby. Go lay down. So let's talk about autism awareness. Now, autism awareness is very important for many reasons. And the biggest reason I'm going to talk about this week is the fact that we don't understand it as the general public the way we should. And that's because there hasn't been a very strong voice. And it's very important that there become a strong voice to educate the masses about what autism is. And I'm generally not a fan of people saying you need to educate the masses on something and the masses need to know something necessarily too in-depth. But in this, we do. This has become something that's affecting all of our lives. And because it's becoming such an effect on all of our lives, we all have to understand what's going on, what it means, and how it's going to affect the world around us. Because even if we have children that aren't autistic, they might deal with kids who are autistic. And being a parent who's aware also enables them to become children who become aware, and we can answer their questions quicker. So by just supporting this, by actually getting a patch, you help the conversation to go further and to go to new markets and to new places. By funding this R2D2 unit, renamed R4AU, that now goes to Comic-Con malls, and different occasions to help build awareness about autism by starting the conversation, a conversation that we all need to have. So please reach out to both. Both are either Christopher or Melissa at cmullins204outlook.com. On PayPal, get your autism awareness patch and help spread the word about autism awareness. It is appreciated, I assure you. And thank you in advance for your support. The last arrival. All right, let's get it on. Now remember, this is a project of Earth.
In The Last Arrival, 5 aliens flee their planet in a desperate attempt to find a new habitable home. Although our characters have conflicting ideas about the nature of their mission, they have to come together to face an unexpected encounter. Hi, my name is Daniel Prim, and I'm the writer of The Last Arrival. We get to know the characters, their sometimes hidden motivations, and the general theme of the series, where we question the boundaries of fantasy and reality through the eyes of our characters. We've been making independent comics for a while now, but nothing on this scale before. Every character design, every page layout is filled with meaning. So now that it's finished, we'd like to make sure that it gets the proper release it deserves. You can get the digital version for only £2, and every physical reward includes free shipping. The book is now completed, so once the Kickstarter is finished, I'll do my best to get it to you as soon as possible. Please contribute to your journey. You'll never forget. You can get the digital version.
Now, most of you who watched these videos over the last year that I've begun to do it, I don't know. It's been about a year me doing it with the unboxing and all that. You guys know I stumble on words all the time, so I get it, man. I get how hard it is, especially when you're doing something live. You can't have that rewind button. You're like, shit. Oh, wait, I can't say shit. Fuck that. Oh! And you just, I tell everyone who comes on Spoken Sins, which we will get back to more doing in the fall. This summer has been hard to schedule people. It's summer. You know how it is. Summer's usually a little lighter. People aren't as focused, or they're on vacation, or they're busy doing something. There's a lot of reasons. The summer's just not a good time. So we're going to get back to the interviews coming during the fall. So stay tuned for that. We're definitely going to do a bunch of interviews at New York Comic Con. I'm going to try to stream them live. But, you know, talking is sometimes hard, as my good friend Daniel here shows us. But fantastic creator, great guy. He left it in, had fun with it. This is a project that people love. It's a project of Earth, as you guys can see down here. And I'm actually curious if they actually got that thing. And you guys saw a little something coming, but I just want to actually see if I forgot to check my own Kickstarter. This is how horrible I am. I'm so busy promoting other people's Kickstarter that sometimes I forget to check on my babies. I actually want to see if they put the project. Yep, there's the Project of Earth. I've got something special. Oh, it's not an awful video. Why are you making me watch that? Because it's a good video, honestly. I like it. It entertains me every time I see it. I like The Last Arrival. Dan showed up in our chat section, man. I think it's fantastic. I think that it takes a lot of balls to be on the videos. Most people know I don't get behind the camera. No one wants to see me on the other side of the camera. I've been told since I was a child that I have the looks for radio, so I am the voice of Written Sins, nothing more. Moving on, because we are running out of time on the program today. As a matter of fact, we're going to go over as usual. This is Midgard.
I'm Alexander Munoz. I'm Gray. And
okay.
It's
a 10-minute video, so we're not going to do a 10-minute video. We did the first minute, so we're going to do the last minute this time. Let's see what happens with the last minute.
Characters and little stories that you might not necessarily see, but that we talked about. And because of that, I feel like a lot of the characters that you might encounter in this story are really well thought out and developed not just by me and Alex, but also by our tight group of friends. Yeah. To tell a diverse story about communities, you can't just be a singular person.
Yeah.
And we are a singular person. Yes. There's so much to be said for Gray's work, but the biggest thing of all is that it always surprises me. I'm never ready for what I see. And I don't write undetailed scripts. But what comes out is never what I thought I was going to see, but it's always something that makes me so happy that I just want to see more of it. I just want to see more. And
okay, we literally have 31 more days to watch the rest of this video, and that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to watch it in pieces. I do like what they're touching upon about the fact that as a writer, when you write something and then someone brings it to life, it brings it to life in a way that is so much better. It's always flattering when it's better. It's sometimes painful when it's not as good as you're writing and you don't know how to deal with that. So it's always a compliment when it's so much better. I've had that disappointment. I can tell you the disappointment does not even come close to as good as it feels when something goes right. Like, I don't mind the disappointment. It's part of the creative process. But when someone does amazing things like that, it is there. Hyde versus Cowgirls is funded. just as a heads up, it just came through on my Kickstarter alerts. So if you're part of the Hyde one, that has officially gone. It's the Cowgirl one. So great job for them. Mega Ninja Publishing. We actually didn't want to get them on the show because we only became aware of it a couple days ago, and they were more than funded. So I didn't even think they were going to be live today. I didn't think they were going to make the show because I actually found out about it before the show. So I'm after the show last week, but I thought they were going to fund earlier today. I didn't realize they hadn't funded yet. I must have gotten the times wrong, or I would have talked about it. But it would have been over by the time anyone rewatched this video. So it is what it is. Tomb of Horrors. Let's take a look at this. So now this one's an amazing title, but again by Kim Roberts. Kim Roberts is on 2 different Kickstarters, which doesn't surprise me in the least because she's so amazing with her ability to create. And I think that, you know, being part of such a big conglomerate, it's not surprising because this is, of course, an anthology. What's awesome about this is the alternative covers they always do, which usually I'm not a fan of, but they do a way of just making them fantastic. There's a huge group. This isn't just Kim Roberts. This is an entire group that bringing together many different stories that I think is kind of interesting and amazing in its own right. I definitely suggest checking this one out. This looks fantastic. This looks like the Kickstarter to bring your Halloween to life. And maybe match it with Then They Call Us Monsters. Just saying, you know, there could be a cool little together moment with the horror and They Call Us Monsters, but that's enough pitching my stuff. Fantastic things you can see. I love the art. I love the idea. I love the alternative cover, which I'm going to get just because I thought it was fun. I mean, the character actually reminds me of Barbara from Fetish Babies a little bit, which I thought was kind of weird. I was like, wow, that actually does look like Barbara, sort of, if she was like 1960s Barbara or 1970s Barbara. So I was like, wow, that's crazy. So I'm getting that cover. I suggest everyone get on board with me. They have already funded. That's how fantastic they are. 15 days to go. So we're going to talk about single dollar. What does that mean? So we're at the end of the show now. So we're just going to go over some things. And this is so let's use my Kickstarter as an example. All right. We're going to go over here to Then They Call Us Monsters. And we're going to talk about, okay, so right now I have 29 backers, which is awesome. 29 people believe in me. I am one of those backers. You can see up there, I always put it $1 in, so it's 28 because I always have, I want to, you know, you'll have people following you, so it just makes sense that if you're involved in a project, you wind up backing the project by at least $1 so people can see that you supported it, and it goes out to your email list. Because every time you back something, for those who don't know, you get awareness of it. You get like an email. You get, if you have the app settings like I have it, it goes onto your phone screen like a Facebook update. So I see what my friends are backing. Sometimes that's how I know how to add these things to my list, because I reach out to people and go, hey, I didn't know you had a Kickstarter. What's going on? And they go, oh, yeah, this is my Kickstarter, and it winds up on our show, and I'm happy to help. And that's how it happens. So I have 29 backers giving me about $400. Now, you guys watching, you could jump in and make it 400 because you're awesome. You could do that right now. I wouldn't hold it against you. I don't mind. Go ahead, back it. And then that would make it 30 backers for $400. Money's great. You know, money makes the world go round. You need money to do things. But when it comes to comic books, you need a support system. You need a fandom. And what's funny is that every time, okay, Jax the Anderson, as an example, we're actually going to go over here. Let's take a look at my different Kickstarters. We'll start with going backwards to Jax the Anderson. Jax the Anderson was brought to life with 56 backers for $885. It's not a bad number. It's not a bad percentage. 56 sounds good, doesn't it? It's 56 people believed in you, right? And then we were talking about earlier in the program, Fetish Babies. Now, Fetish Babies was heartbreaking to me in the one way that in the end, it said that only 95 backers brought it to life, which sucks because I had a couple friends who had to pull out and just had an issue. So I would have been at 100 if they could have supported it, but they were tight on money. So I was like, don't worry about it, man. It's all good. You don't have to support something. Obviously, you know, it's all good. I get people don't have money, but it also came up with after we ran, I think it was after we ran this, that $1 could matter. We started it during this, but we started really pushing it after this one because just imagine if I had 100. 100 sounds better than 95. So if every one of those friends of mine had given $1, I would have had 100 backers. And it wouldn't have made a lick of difference in this. Like, I mean, for this particular one that we're talking about now, they call us monsters. One of the more popular ones on it has been the PDF for $4. It's the first time I've ever done $4 for a PDF, and we're doing $10 for the book itself, and that's including printing. Now, I did this a little different. Obviously, I'm a big fan that Kickstarter is supposed to be for crowdfunding and to get your money up. This one, I'm not going to be building as much money as I have on other books, and it sucks because this is a 32-page comic book. So you're getting a 32-page comic book while most people are giving out 20 to 22 pages of comics. So you take the hit. I'm trying it a different way. I personally believe a comic should be around 15 on Kickstarter, and I'm giving it for 10. I'm trying something as a debate or as a way to kind of address something someone had told me, and it's mixed. I haven't had as many backers as I normally do, and I honestly think that that's got something to do with the fact that this is not valued higher. And I think that maybe it has something to do with my fan base. No one's seen me do horror yet. I've done many different books, so this is my first time doing horror. And if you want a more in-depth of how I came up with the idea and all that, I did add this video here, which does show a lot more of my creative side and why I did what I did. So, but for that $1, if everyone who watched this video, let's just say today, I believe usually we catch 100 viewers, right? If every one of you believed in me just enough and said, you know what, Rob's a good creator. I want to see the book at a con, but I want to make sure it gets to a con, and I want him to keep creating, and I believe in him. And this goes for anyone. Forget Rob for a minute. Just when you see a creator, anyone on that list today, and you see them and you think, wow, they're a good creator. Maybe I don't like that story for myself, but you know what? You know what that tells me about them? That it's worth $1, and that dollar can help them dream come true. Because now you're talking about $100. 100 people watch my video, so I get $100 in my project right now from every one of you who's watched it. So 100 of you come in. Suddenly I'm looking at $491 on an 800, so I only have to now make $309. And if I get the $250 I'm expecting for the ad, like it's going to happen, suddenly you're talking about a ballpark of $59, which is nothing when you have 12 days to go. You see where I'm getting at? Every dollar matters. But also what matters is, remember we were talking about this? When you back a project, that number goes up. So if you back it and you give me $1, I'll tell you right now, I told someone today, they were like, oh, I don't have a lot of money right now. I wish this would come out in 3 weeks. I was like, dude, here, do this. Give me $1. If when you get that $1, if something comes up 3 weeks from now and you suddenly flush and you could buy a book, you come to me. I'll find a way. I've got stores now. We'll apply that dollar to a purchase, even if it's a PDF later. You know, and that's how it has to be when it comes to this, because these Kickstarters is also opportunity for me to meet you and other people to meet their fans. And this is about delivering you a package. And the three pillars that every creator can do right. And I got complimented on this by someone recently, is how quickly I delivered Jax the Anderson. And we didn't deliver Fetish Babies either late. We actually went through Amazon. It cost us, we wound up going into debt on the project even more than we would have been using Amazon, but we got free shipping. So, and we used a couple gift cards that we had for our rewards loyalty program. So either way, it cost us more to deliver on time, and that's what it's about. It's about building this, but I need to build it one person at a time. So I do like to take the time at the shows and the conventions. And I had 3 people who were like, "Oh, I wish you had the book. I'd buy it now." And I was tempted to tell them, "Hey, you know, if you give me $5, I can give you the book at this show or that show." But I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to cheapen it, because I also do believe in the integrity. Right now it's on Kickstarter. I told them where to go to back it, but I also told them where I'd be in the future, and they could come see me then. And that's what this is. This is an opportunity. Kickstarter is an opportunity for me to talk with you guys and for other creators to talk with you. And hey, this is my idea. Being halfway through this event, I do not regret, but don't think I'll use this kind of platform to do the deals. I said I would try it, and I'm a man of my word, so I tried it. I don't like it, so I won't be doing it again. In the future, I will be using Kickstarter as more of a crowdfunding. I'll probably have like 1 or 2 cool deals in it. It'll be slightly different. Fetish Babies 2 will be a little bit more streamlined. Fetish Babies 2 also had a little bit of a higher production cost. This one was the perfect one where I could try this out and get it to go. And I think we're going to fund without a problem. I believe in you guys, that you believe in me enough that we're going to fund. $1 helps me get closer to making this dream book come true. And it really was something that 2 creators got together and did an amazing job bringing to life. So $1 can make different worlds. And speaking of different worlds coming to life, are you one of us? This year, we're asking everyone if they're one of us, and we're pretty much basing it on the fact that if you're tired of the reboot bullshit culture, then you are already one of us. And all we ask is that you wind up subscribing and becoming one of us on top of it. And let us do something cool. Let us go behind the scenes, go to the dashboard, and go to the users. You guys are looking at the background of Written Sins right now. We're going to do all users. Now, I'm just going to lift this up real quick because I don't want to give away anyone's email addresses if I don't have. Let me just do this. Okay, so I'm blocking email addresses. Right now we have 1,800, 806 amount of people. So I'm just going to put my hand up here so no one sees any email addresses. I don't want to give out email addresses. That's the only way. So we are 200 away from having 19,000 subscribers. And they're all eager for New Word. And now, you know, it's exciting. It's going to be 19,000 of us, soon to be 20,000 of us. Every time I go to a convention, we go up by 500 to 1,000 people, and I'm going to be at Dragon Con for 3 days. We're going to 19. All of us are changing how comics are done. Marvel is talking about not making comic books monthly anymore. They're talking about doing graphic novels for the future. DC is doing a fantastic job, but indie comics is well alive on Kickstarter, and it's because of you guys. Thank you for tuning into the show. Subscribe to our site. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe anywhere you see Written Sins. Join the groups. And remember, when you join the Written Sins group, if you join it and you put your stuff on there, it instantly goes to our site. Thank you all for showing up. This has been Kickstarter Talk. You guys got to see exclusive stuff, as always. Next week's show will be slightly shorter because we'll be on the road. So prepare for a shorter version of that then. But for now, I'll talk to you all soon.